Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the fifth installment of the Free State Sports Podcast. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Links are in the description. There's only a few days left in 2024. Believe it or not, that's insane to me. We're going to be doing some reflecting on all the action we've seen from the NFL this season as we continue through Week 15. We're going to look back on some of our early season predictions, talk about some things that have surprised us this season, and a whole lot more, so stick around. As always, I'm joined with my guys, Andrew and Saquon. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. Pretty good. Ravens balled out.
They did.
Go
Saquon,
Ravens.
are you alive?
I'm alive. Well, it's been a great day, especially as a Ravens fan. Very interesting year. Let's hope that we can close the season out well.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the Ravens, before we get into that game, we've got a few news topics to cover in the NFL world. The first one is a former Raven, which we were just talking about off podcast. The Dolphins and wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. have mutually agreed to part ways. He's been released from the team per NBC Sports. He will pass through waivers, and anyone that claims him will be picking up the remainder of his $3 million base salary. That works out to be $500,000. If he clears through waivers, he becomes a free agent. It's unclear whether he'd command anything more than the prorated veteran minimum of $1.2 million. With the playoffs around the corner, do you guys think that we should expect to see him on another team this year?
Oh, absolutely. I think, me personally, I think Odell still has some in the tank. He is, I believe, 32, 33, if not 34. With that cap in mind, 500,000, we have seen it before where teams will pick up veteran wide receivers or defensive backs or whatnot in the playoffs or prior to the season ending. I can probably see him landing at a potential Super Bowl contending team, not like the Lions, not the Bills, maybe the Chiefs if someone gets injured as the season comes to a close. But I can see it happening.
That's fair. I would kind of agree. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Chiefs pick him up. They kind of just swoop everybody up. But I also wouldn't be too surprised if he didn't get picked up, unless, like you said, there's an injury or something like that, and he has to fill in for somebody.
I have a few teams that he could end up going to.
List them off.
So, obviously, the Ravens are having issues with their recent trade acquisition.
Very true.
We could see Odell back in Baltimore. We could see Odell head over to the the Lions, I think, and play over there with Jared Goff, or the Rams and reunite with Matt Stafford. But I think most likely George Pickens for the Steelers is currently injured. I don't know if you guys know this.
Is he?
Yeah, he's missed
I did not know that.
2 consecutive games. Just missed a game today. Odell could bring some help to a much needed. I'd hate to see him on the Steelers.
Yeah.
But Odell could bring help to the Steelers over there.
Those are all fair assessments too. He's definitely still got some in the tank. It'll be interesting to see if he gets picked up. I think he will get picked up at some point. It'll be interesting to see if it's in time for the postseason or not. Surely there's going to be somebody at least looking at him. So we'll see how all that unfolds. But speaking of releases, this probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. But the Browns have released wide receiver Kadarius Toney just after Cleveland's loss to Pittsburgh last week. In that game, he had 0 catches, a crucial muffed punt that removed any hope for a late comeback. They were down 2 scores, and he had a 15-yard taunting penalty while down 20 points. I mean, just absolutely disastrous. What is everybody's thoughts on this? And also, do you think this might be the last time that we see Kadarius Toney as a starter in the NFL?
I don't even think you could have considered him a starter over with the Browns.
Yeah, I don't know what their depth chart looked like when he was over there.
Yeah.
I think he was just returning punts.
Well, couldn't even do that apparently.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's rough because I want to say he slumped last season with the Chiefs. Before that, he was a very reliable wide receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't anything stellar, but he was a great slot guy, or you could throw him over as a 2. And that's how they used him. And, I mean, Mahomes was still able to make it and win a Super Bowl with Kadarius Toney. But he's just not reliable anymore. He's been reduced to that of as formally how Nelson Aguilar was.
Yeah.
Occasional hands Kadarius Toney, and it's spread to him punt returning now.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're taking away his ability as a wide receiver to be a playmaker. He can't catch the ball. And you take away his ability to be a playmaker on special teams. There's no place for him on an NFL team. So
Yeah.
unless there's a major offseason turnaround, I definitely don't see him on another team this year. He's probably going to be a Raven.
Saquon, what do you think about the situation?
Well, the same day I found out he was fired was the same day I found out he was on a team. I was thoroughly surprised, just due to the fact of how he left the Chiefs a year or so ago, and then just to see the highlights, I was like, wow, like that's a crazy way to go out. We've seen guys get fired for more and for less. It is the NFL. I wouldn't be surprised if a team's picked them up. We've seen guys such as, Odell Beckham Jr., bunny hop from team to team in the span of 4 to 5 years. There's always more potential, but that's definitely a big stain to leave. A taunting play, and then after that you fumbled a punt return. I'm not sure who would pick him up. Maybe someone from the NFC. I don't necessarily see anyone from the AFC pick him up because the AFC is the hardest, group of teams. But the NFC is always starving for wide receivers, quarterbacks, and whatnot. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about it, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know if I even see him. If he does get picked up by somebody, I think it'll be one of those things where we don't even hear about it.
Right.
It's one thing to fumble a punt, but to also like have that attitude where you're getting taunting penalties when you're down 20 points is crazy. That tells me there's probably also a locker room problem. So I don't know. All around bad situation for him. He's really messed up his chances of being a notable name in the NFL.
Oh, he's going to be notable, but not for any
for
of the
all the
right
wrong
reasons.
Right.
But speaking of drama, we've also got some interesting things unfolding over in San Francisco, and their struggles continue. They fell 6-8 against the Rams this past Thursday. Linebacker Devondre Campbell could be seen walking off the field mid-game because he, quote, didn't want to play, per various sources. Teammates George Kittle and Charvarius Ward had post-game interviews. They were not happy at all. Kittle called him selfish, said he hopes to never play with somebody like him again. Charvarius Ward pulled no punches, and I'm just going to say the full quote. He said the act was, quote, some sucker shit, and then he insinuated that he will likely be released soon. So, fellas, what do you make of this situation? And what's everybody's thoughts on this whole thing?
This is just, we just had a situation occur with AR-15, which is Anthony Richardson.
Mm.
And that was from the quarterback position. This is a lesser position, but definitely more outrageous. Why is it outrageous? Because Anthony Richardson tapped out because he was exhausted. Mm. He's reached his limit. And we all understand like that wasn't okay. But this guy didn't reach a physical limit. He reached a mental limit with the team.
Yeah.
And, they've been on a good team for so long. The 49ers have been good for so long. Who cares if they have a bad season this year?
Right.
I mean, I get it. Their fans care. And I care. It was very easy when I made my who's going to be good predictions early on in the podcast. It was so easy for me just to sit there and say, oh, yeah, the 49ers, they've been good. Why won't they be good this year? Mm. They've been injury riddled and everything, but to tap out and walk out on your teammates,
yeah,
I don't know how he didn't get an AB done on him.
Yeah,
get the hell out of my stadium.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get off my field. Get out of the stadium. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I don't think they've even released him yet, which is wild.
No, you should have been exiled. Never brought back. He should be playing in the XFL right now.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I never heard his name until he walked off. So
yeah.
It's another thing you don't want to be known for. But Saquon, what are your thoughts on it?
So I'm glad Andrew brought up that point because initially I was going to bring up that point, but I'm going to take a different perspective on it. So back when I was in Korea 4 years ago, one of my staff sergeants gave me a great and wise quote that I'm going to use. Don't let your personal life take over your work life. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
Do not let your personal life take on your professional life.
Man.
We've seen it
That's why
in
we
the
bring you on
past
the
couple
podcast.
years. Like, we've seen it throughout this year with AR-15. We've even seen it with our own guy, Deontay Johnson with the Baltimore Ravens, why he didn't want to play. But for the San Francisco 49ers, we had a guy get shot. We've had running back, offensive player of the year be done for most of the season and can possibly be retiring after this season. There is no excuse of why any of this went down. Many, many years ago with the Bucks, we saw Antonio Brown leave the field because of an apparent injury that happened and no one was willing to help him. Lord, come to find out, that wasn't even the case. He left just due to ego and things with his own personal space. So I'm going to say this to the San Francisco 49er player. You have lost all trust and all faith in that locker room. All of it. There's guys that don't mean to, fight your battles, but there's guys that are going through similar stuff, if not worse things, and they are still on that field.
Yeah.
So for you to do what you did when they needed you, it's horrible.
No.
If you get fired or released, don't be surprised. This is a career killer, what you just did.
And
that's all I gotta say.
To piggyback off of that, because I really like that, right? We just had a situation occur in Baltimore with a Darius Washington who was expected to miss the game because of family issues happening. And it was reported he's probably going to end up missing the game, but he still traveled with the team. And I think he played today, right?
Yeah.
He did.
I don't even know if he traveled
interception,
with the
actually.
team. I think
he traveled separately from the team,
he traveled
and he still
separately
played
and still
today.
showed up. Yeah.
That is a locker room leader. That is someone that the locker room is going to turn to when they are in a position where they need help, where they are going through something. Like, how did you do it? I did it, but it doesn't mean you have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know what, maybe the coaches, like his baby mama was in the hospital dying, and the coaches held a gun to his head and said, "You better play." I doubt that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
100% doubt that happened. But, like, if the situation occurred, the time and place to take care of that situation is not on the field. It is before the game.
Yeah. Before the game or after the game. And I think there's two sides to every story, but at this level, it's just inexcusable. I mean, just you mentioned Deontay Johnson earlier, and him refusing to come into the game as well. Hasn't done a thing for the Ravens since they signed him. But just the ego of some of these guys is insane. Saquon was talking about some of the stuff that the other 49ers guys were going through, and he sent that video to the group chat off podcast. The guy was just listing off some of the things. I think there was a player that also had his wife had a stillborn child. There was a whole bunch of people going through stuff over there in San Francisco. So for you to walk off the game or walk off the field mid-game because you didn't want to play or simply because your ego was bruised and you felt insulted is insane to me. It speaks volumes about your character as a person, much more than it does as a player. So he's lost all my respect. Yeah, it's just inexcusable, point blank, period. But speaking of interesting things in San Francisco, a lot to talk about with that team because, side note, Deebo Samuel actually had 7 targets, 2 drops, and 16 yards in that same game. That was just a week after claiming he wasn't getting the ball enough. And to think, I got to say, with Brandon Ayuk getting that big contract and really only having one standout game this year, now Deebo's struggles and all the drama that's going on over there, what a fall from grace it's been. I got to say, I really feel for the 49ers. Just crazy drama going on over there right now.
They're like the modern-day Pittsburgh Steelers.
They are.
Had AB and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, it's wild over there right now. Hopefully they can turn it around.
And what I will say is I hope Deebo takes this in the best light possible. Like, humbling experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to work better to get the ball more. Maybe I need to be better.
Right.
And that's what I hope. Like, I hope Deebo doesn't go home and beat himself up over this because I love him as a player. He's a fantastic, one of the most entertaining players to watch in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I really hope that he can grow and move on from this experience. It's obvious that the 49ers are struggling this year. I'm calling in doubts on whether or not they're going to even make the postseason. They're probably not going to make the postseason at this point.
Yeah, it's not looking very good.
No. What are your thoughts, Saquon?
I'm gonna keep it short. I'm gonna keep it blunt. I'm gonna keep it brief. Shut up and play ball.
Yeah.
Shut up and play ball.
Couldn't have said it better.
Nah, if you're gonna call your shot, you better hit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure when. I'm not sure why. Athletes got the moxie to do things on Twitter instead of going to the source. We've seen it with AJ Brown last week complaining about why he's not getting the ball. The only difference is he actually is producing numbers. But back when I was growing up, back when we were growing up, you would go to that person and ask the issue. You wouldn't take your feelings to social media and pray that your coworker, your constituent, your teammate go to that. All right, you know? But like, I just don't get it. We saw the same thing last year with Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs went to Twitter, social media, whatever platform it was, and said, "I don't like the looks I'm getting. I don't appreciate how I'm not getting targets." And look what happened.
Yeah.
Not to say that he is in now a terrible situation, all due to the fact that he went to the Texans, and also that he has a season-ending injuries. But it just rubs me the wrong way how these athletes are just coming for their guys instead of like going straight to the source, asking questions, trying to figure things out. It's
doing better to build chemistry.
I love Debo as well. Yeah, you know, like I love Debo. Debo is the Swiss Army knife of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm glad that he got the bag, but I believe that he also handled it the wrong way, like completely.
Yeah, you're telling me that like people back in the day, like Calvin Johnson, Megatron, who literal potential was wasted in Detroit. You're telling me that he wasn't complaining about it? He probably was.
Probably.
But he still showed up every week. He still produced. He still put up numbers, and he still made the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? I understand the frustration of not making a Super Bowl. I understand the frustration of being in the same place every time, every year, on repeat. Like DeAndre Hopkins when he was with the Texans, or as I mentioned prior. But at the end of the day, the teams that are accepting team-friendly deals are the ones that are winning the Super Bowl. You know, with the notable exception of the Rams.
Right.
Yeah.
Very notable. But there's a reason why Tyreek Hill isn't getting any more rings.
Right.
There's a reason.
I can be fair.
Go ahead.
Go good. I was gonna say I can be fair and say complaints like that is the reason why Baker got released from the Browns.
Yeah, that was,
and also furthermore why
for Baker,
Odell went to the Rams.
No, that was completely like the Browns dropped the ball on Baker, bro.
Yeah.
So they're like, you are the future of our franchise, but we're just gonna go pay millions of dollars to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But we like you. You're cool. They did Baker wrong. Baker was in every position to complain. Because I respect the player that can like know his situation is screwed and just be like, no, I'm not taking this.
Yeah.
But what I can't respect is a player that knows their situation is screwed, but is one of the reasons why their situation is screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a certain way to handle things, and it's just it's been crazy to see over there, and you're seeing it more and more in the NFL these days. And to touch on Saquon's point about social media, I think it's just another example of how social media has completely ruined us as a society, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. Why do we have soldiers if we're not going to Marquise Brown?
Yeah. It's just
what a guy.
Crazy. It's crazy to me. What a guy.
He's doing great things over there in rehab.
Yeah, he's doing something.
He's fast though. Did you hear he got a ticket for going 70 miles per hour?
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
That is pretty fast.
Yeah. Proud of him. He's going places.
Yeah, he's going places fast. But let's head over to the NCAA for a second. I want to talk a little bit about
what we're going to talk about here.
our 2024 Heisman Trophy winner,
Ooh.
wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter. He posted over 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns as a wide receiver this year. He's had a little over 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns in 3 seasons with Colorado and Jackson State. He's also a solid corner, posting a few interceptions. Watch his highlights. Me and Andrew actually watched his highlights together last night. He's got pretty good speed, tight coverage as a cornerback.
Pretty good speed.
He's got really good speed.
He's got great game speed. It's very comparable to Kyle Hamilton.
I would agree.
But as a cornerback, like there was one where he was 10 to 15 yards behind a pass play, and he came down with an interception.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is Deion Sanders level of play recognition and speed.
He's got really good hands, too. He can really catch it in traffic. That's one thing that really
He's got the
impressed me.
ability to suck in those balls. I'm quoting the commentator, by the way.
Absolutely. If you know, you know. But yeah, he's going to be one to watch for sure coming out of college. Saquon, what are your thoughts on him? Did you get to see any film?
Oh, absolutely. I knew Travis Hunter due to Cam Newton's organization, also former XFL/NCAA player Destroying on YouTube. He makes fantastic content. I was not too surprised, even though it seemed like it was pretty close neck and neck between him and Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
I love how he said thank you.
Because I knew when he was thinking about correcting me, but I'm thrilled for it. I can't wait to see him in the league. Per the mock drafts at the NFL draft and a couple other people, his landing spot can potentially be the Jaguars. I can't wait to see what he does. I'm not too particularly sure what's in store for the. I think the Jags probably use them effectively, but they have other things they need to figure out. It's all a matter of what are they going to use them for. So when the combine comes around, I'm not too sure if he's going to do. I've heard that he might not do the 40, which I think he should if he wants to play both sides of the ball. But
I don't think he should play both sides of the ball.
Well, if he plays both sides of the ball, it's not going to be all 4 quarters.
No,
that's insane.
I really don't think he should play both. Maybe keep him as like a reserve corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's good to have him as a backup.
I think he's going to be. That's going to be his thing. Like he's primarily going to be wide receiver, but if they really need him and if he's okay, he's going to be like that backup corner / wherever. He has a speed for it, like you said. He has the agility. He's made it in a lab. Like it all just depends on what the team wants to draft him as. Because wherever he goes, we've seen it before. Wherever the destination lands, they're going to use him effectively. And I just hope they don't. Absolutely,
like, the definition of a playmaker.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you,
I just hope they don't milk him down.
Like if he wants to come in, he could be, he could be the next prime time, the next Deion.
Absolutely,
Sanders. He's got the personality, like the over the top personality for it, where it's not like going to get him flagged every play, but also he's going to be drawing attention to himself. He's got the speed, the athleticism, the play recognition, but that is at the college level. So I'm not trying to diminish anything he's done this year. He's had a fantastic season, but I'm also not trying to say like this man is undoubtedly going to be the next generational player. You know what I mean?
No, and that's fair because we've said it before. Athletes from the college level, it's hard to transition to the NFL. We've said about Caleb Williams. We said about many other draft acquisitions this previous season and this current season. So it's fair to your point. We shouldn't expect for him to immediately crash out for 1,400 receiving yards and then like 5, 6, 7 interceptions. It can happen. It does happen, but it's not like a reoccurring thing that happens.
No, yeah.
So, but I'm excited. If I can ask a secondary question after you guys give your point, what are landing locations you think he'll be at?
That would be hard to tell. It's going to depend heavily on the combine. But, I mean, given the Heisman, I would say top 10, possibly in the top 5. I think any other position you're going to be looking at quarterback. You're going to be looking at defensive line. So he might fall, but I don't think he's going to fall very far.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Don't know where he'll end up. Probably on one of the worst teams, obviously. He's
Yeah,
going to be
that's
pretty
that's
high
just what I
up.
was asking. Like, who would you think would pick him up?
I could see him going to something like somewhere like the Jets. They're probably going to be rebuilding. Awful situation over there.
They won today, though.
Yeah,
They did. Aaron Rodgers actually
They
looked
did.
pretty good for a change.
yeah.
But I could see him going somewhere like that. I want to say the Giants, but they do already have neighbors over there, so I don't know how likely that is.
And Banks.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. Well, I don't know. Maybe I hate to see him go to the Panthers, but I don't think that'll happen. They're probably gonna end up with the number 1 pick, I would imagine.
Yeah, they're probably going to reach for a quarterback and fail.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first
Most
time.
likely.
Oh, they played a horrific game today.
Yeah.
The Panthers.
Yeah,
They were
Right on.
favored to beat the Cowboys, too.
yeah. They were for the first time, I believe, in over 762 days.
They didn't come close.
Yeah, not the dog.
Yeah, boys.
Yeah.
They're going to get a top 15 draft pick.
Now imagine, because I was wondering if one of y'all was gonna say that. Is there a possibility that Jerry could pick up either Sanders or Travis? You think that's something that he's thinking about?
No. I don't
Yeah,
know
so-
what Jerry is thinking about.
Nobody does.
He's probably not, because he's the
Jerry's
same guy that
been-
didn't give Derrick Henry a call. So
Jerry's probably sitting there like, we really need a halfback. Yeah, but dude, like, listen, this is our board right now, okay? Yeah, but we need a
Signs Ray Rice.
halfback. So, let's get that offensive tackle from Georgia.
That sounds
facts.
about right.
No offense if you're an offensive tackle from Georgia. All respect to you. Just Jerry
Yeah.
Jones makes no sense.
No, he doesn't at all. But also in the college world, you have some news as Bill Belichick has signed a deal as head coach for the University of North Carolina. One of his first moves was getting a commitment from a 4-star recruit. Bryce Baker, who was ranked number 7 in his class, he threw for 3,099 yards, 36 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions while leading his high school to a 13-1 record this fall. What do you guys think about what Bill Belichick might do over there in North Carolina?
If you don't mind, I would like to congratulations to Bill Belichick for getting this coaching opportunity. It's pretty obvious that he went from dating college-age women to teaching college-age men.
Moving up in the world.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
It's just something about him in college age. I think he's doing pretty all right for himself. I mean, it's scary with that transition because now you don't have to worry about a budget.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about like I said, a salary cap, paying players. All you got to worry about is the fact that you're Bill Belichick, and you're the best coach the NFL's ever seen, allegedly.
Yep.
Allegedly.
Which
Allegedly.
no supporting factors. It's between Bill Belichick, obviously John Madden, I guess, Andy Reid, who has become a star-studded head coach. He was a star-studded head coach before he had Mahomes with the Eagles, but he solidified his Hall of Fame career. Still have that post up on Instagram after he won his first Super Bowl. So proud of that man. Saquon.
Yes. Okay. I thought somebody was gonna call my name up. Yeah. I don't have too much to say about the situation, but I am thrilled to potentially see Deion Sanders. There has been rumors that Deion might go to a different team because his son and Travis, they're going to the draft next season or next year, and he can potentially be going to Florida. A lot of people are saying that he might be going to Florida. So to think that Bill Belichick and Deion Sanders might go head to head next season, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a smooth transition from the NFL down to the NCAA. You're just dealing with younger men who want to go to the NFL.
What's important is to realize that this isn't Bill Belichick's team just yet. It's his
Yeah.
first year coaching, okay?
That's true.
Very true.
It's going to be
that's very
weird
true.
seeing him in the college level, to be honest. It's going to take some getting used to.
Not really. It's not like he's a quarterback or anything. They're going to show him and talk about him like twice per game.
Right.
It's true. Well, I mean, with that said, we'll head over to some recent games from the NFL this week. Earlier today, the Chiefs defeated the Browns 21-7. Raise your hand if you're surprised. Their star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, ended up getting tangled up awkwardly. He left the game with an ankle injury. On the Browns side, Nick Chubb actually suffered a season-ending broken foot. Did you guys catch this game at all, or either of those injuries?
I didn't catch the game because who's surprised, but I caught the injuries. Did you guys catch what Andy Reid said during his post-game interview?
I did not.
No, sir.
Mahomes have been struggling with his ankle injury for a while now. And it basically, his verbiage is what coaches say to say this is going to be a week-to-week injury.
Ah,
So,
Mahomes might miss a little bit of time. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Looks like you're going to have to wait for some Mahomes magic until the playoffs.
yep.
I mean, he's done
It's
it before. He'll
it's
do it
gonna
again.
happen.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry, Chiefs fans.
But also, that sucks for Nick Chubb, too.
Absolutely.
Second major injury this season.
Oh, yeah, Nick Chubb with another injury this season. That sucks. I love Nick Chubb. Great player, fantastic, amazing interception
Yeah.
by the Packers. Sorry, we're watching Sunday Night Football. in
Nope,
the
I just saw
background.
it too, and my mouth became ajar.
No, Nick Chubb, he's such an angry runner, and he's genuinely a great leader for the Browns organization, and the only leader the Browns organization has had since Baker Mayfield has left Cleveland, besides Myles Garrett. But then again, Myles Garrett played whack-a-mole.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Chubb is
Yeah, I
the
heard
only
today, too.
great leader.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all saw that either. He had his eye poked out today as well. He had to get carted off.
Who did?
Myles Garrett.
I did not see that.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah, a lineman. It was completely unintentional, but a lineman poked him in the eye, and Pat made sure that he was all right, but he got carted off the field, I believe.
Hit him with the Bobby Boucher special.
The oldest trick in the book.
That's right.
Mama said.
Well, you know, we're all Ravens fans here. We also saw the Ravens defeat the Giants today. Again, raise your hand if you're surprised. 35
Saquon,
to
you better be
14.
raising your hand.
No, I am. I just, yeah.
I can say that there was no point in that game where I felt like we were ever in danger of losing that game.
Yeah.
No.
Even when
Jackson
Lamar
looked very
fumbled
good.
on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, aside from that, he looked very good. Threw more touchdowns than he threw incompletions. 5 touchdowns, only 4 incompletions.
And they weren't easy
Yeah.
touchdowns.
They weren't.
Not by. Oh.
Rashad Bateman had a breakout
He
game.
looked really good.
Zay Flowers continues to be reliable.
Yep.
Yep.
Isaiah Likely.
Mark showing off that he's not
did
washed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews had a really standout game.
He didn't he break the record for most touchdowns in Ravens franchise history?
Yeah.
Yep, 48.
Yep. Yeah, but speaking of Lamar, he's also on track to finish the season with his best numbers that he's ever produced. He's currently at 29 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. 3,290 yards passing, not to mention his rushing stats on top of that. But question for you guys, do you think that this game puts Lamar back in front for the MVP race?
Allen had a really good showing today. But the one thing I need to say, and I just have to get this out here because this isn't being talked about enough. Josh Allen had 2 back-to-back games where he was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
He had one game where he threw 30% completion percentage. You know how many quarterbacks have thrown for 30% completion percentage?
How many?
0 this season, 0 last season, 0 the season before that. 0 since what, 1986? I think they said that last time that 30% happened in a game.
I believe so.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrible. And I'm not saying Josh Allen is a terrible quarterback. I think he is a top 5 quarterback in the league. I would have him under Mahomes. I would have him under Lamar. And I would have him over Joe Burrow. Right now.
Yeah, I would agree.
Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback, but he lost against the Ravens and 30% completion percentage. You can make an argument for Saquon Barkley being the MVP frontrunner, but Lamar just casually threw 5 touchdowns at a near perfect rating. He's still one of the best quarterback ratings in the league, and it's only getting better. He hasn't had a single bad game this season. All of his interceptions weren't his fault. Now, he did have a couple drop interceptions.
Yeah.
And one today. So,
That is fair.
respect.
Saquon, what do you think this game does for Lamar's chances at MVP?
I don't think much has changed. So I'm not going to discredit Lamar because that's not my job. That's not our job. It's for us to be point blank period, straightforward. I've said off podcasts, we had to win out. Point blank period. We had to win out. With that, after this game, we go against the Steelers, who already have played against early in the season, and we lost, primarily due to the fact that we couldn't finish on field goals, and even still, the Russell Wilson didn't even score a touchdown the entire game. It was a field goal game. After that, we have the Texans, who are 9-5, who I believe we can beat due to the fact that we beat them last year in the playoffs. Even though it's a new year, he doesn't have all his weapons. And we also have the Browns. We've seen it today. We've seen it for the previous weeks. The Browns aren't the same Browns, and they haven't been the Browns in, quite frankly, a very long time, right? Where the Bills, the remaining Bills games are 2 Patriot games and one Jets game. Now, in my opinion, if Lamar consistently do what he did today for the remainder of the season, and miraculously somehow the Bills lose 2, maybe the rest of the games, and Josh Allen absolutely bombs it, and also due to the fact that Saquon Barkley, who I believe is number 2, maybe number 3 in this race, he's injured today. We're not sure how long that's going to be. We're not sure if it was just for today. We're not sure if it's for the rest of the season. If Lamar pops off and then the rest of the candidates absolutely go downhill, I can see him going back to the number 1 of the race. But also to your point, Mike, we're not focused on the MVP. What we focus on for the rest of the season?
A Super Bowl.
Well, that's what Lamar's
Super Bowl.
focused on as an analyst.
Yeah,
That's what I'm also focused on.
absolutely.
No, so real quick, if you don't mind, I just want to. The Ravens don't have to win out to make the playoffs. They're guaranteed a playoff spot if they just win 2 more games, just 2 more.
No, that's not the point I was talking about. I believe we're going to win out regardless, but I think if we win out and it's just a dominating game like the way we had today, I believe that's what's going to propel Lamar back to the forefront.
Oh, fair enough.
Because remember what I said previously in the last podcast where Joe Burrow and Chase and Higgins, they're putting on a show. However, they're 4-8 now, 5-8.
Yeah.
Where Lamar, he puts on a good showing and we still lose. Now, back to my previous point, if we straight up beat whomever we play against, whether it's the Steelers, the Browns, the Texans, and Lamar, goes for 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns, he's just putting on a showing, and Bills and Saquon actually tanks it, that's what's going to put him back in the number 1 spot.
No, I personally just think if it's Lamar having a great showing. I think at this point in the season, Lamar should be the MVP frontrunner because, again, Josh Allen had 2 games where he massively struggled. It's just like when Brock Purdy was the MVP frontrunner and then he threw 5 interceptions against the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen had a game where he threw a 30% completion percentage, which is weird. 5 interceptions, 30% completion.
They're both pretty bad.
Was it 5
That's
or was
fair.
it 4 interceptions? I can't remember.
I want to say it was 5.
4.
Yeah, 4?
So
Was it?
to
it
your
was
point,
4, and then there was the backup quarterback doing extra.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So to your point, Andrew, not so non-statistic wise, and I don't mean to back her up because I know how we all feel. Monse Bolaños, one of the things she said is why she believes that Lamar shouldn't have won the MVP last year is because I believe Lamar had 3 games where he did not throw a touchdown. So, with that being the case, do you think that's somewhat same or similar to Josh Allen's case right now? The fact that he had horrible games this year that he shouldn't have won, shouldn't win it.
Because quarterbacks go for games without touchdowns all the time. This was a historically low completion percentage.
Okay.
It was very similar to when Jameis Winston had 5,000 yards but went 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. This was historically low, and it came after a loss, right? You lose one game, okay, that's pretty bad. Then you perform even worse in the next game you play. That's worse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's
It's
a fair
obvious
point as well.
that Josh Allen has cost his team wins this year. The Texans game, very winnable game if Josh Allen just completed the football down the field. The Ravens game, very winnable if Josh Allen was able to push the football down the field, but he wasn't. The defense shut them down. Now, on the other hand, Lamar Jackson didn't win their game despite playing at the best he could, which means Lamar did everything he could to put his team in position to win. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
fair.
I just can't help. I know stats aren't really all that matter for an MVP, but I can't help looking at the fact that Lamar just. I think he leads every quarterback in
Touchdowns right now.
in touchdowns, and he leads.
He does.
I'm pretty sure he's ahead of Josh Allen in passing yards.
Yep.
And I think he's fewest in the league for interceptions as well. So
Third fewest.
He is
third fewest.
really.
Yeah, but that might include like some backup quarterbacks who has some tosses and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Right.
Justin Herbert is also quietly having a really good season. I don't know about tonight.
Yeah.
I didn't check his stats because the Chargers got mollywopped.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They did.
that's
I-
a fair
I
point
would-
though, Mike.
I was
No,
just
go,
gonna
go,
say
go,
I,
boss.
I would put Lamar. I think right now I might have Lamar and Josh Allen exactly neck and neck.
Oh, did Herbert get no? Herbert just had one pick.
Just one pick.
Okay, that's not bad.
I think I would put them neck and neck right now, but Saquon Barkley's also still in that conversation. I think it's
Yeah.
most likely to go to a quarterback though. I think if the last few games of the season stay like if the race stays how it is now, I would have Lamar taking it. But if Lamar has a couple bad games, kind of similar to what Saquon said, there's definitely a chance Josh Allen could take it as well. I'm sure if Lamar wins it, there's going to be an uproar regardless of the situation. But it's going to be close.
Okay.
It'll be fun to follow either way.
Let's hold on. One more thing before you
Yeah, go
continue.
ahead.
If because you brought up stats, if stats mattered, if stats were the determining factor for who should be the MVP or offensive player of the year, Dak would have won it last year.
Yeah, but they're definitely a contributing factor.
Absolutely,
Um,
they are.
It is a reflection on the record and everything, you know. But
Yeah.
a lot of Dak's points, like a lot of it, came in garbage time. When they were already blown out, game was already over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson hasn't been blown out this season.
No,
Lamar Jackson hasn't lost ugly this season. I mean, yeah, never mind. But Lamar Jackson hasn't been put in a position where he didn't look like he belonged on that field. But a lot of questions were raised when Josh Allen had 30% completion percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley, you can throw him in the MVP conversation with Lamar Jackson. But again, it's really hard to push that running back over because if there is no pass game in Philadelphia, if Jalen Hurts wasn't there, I don't think Saquon Barkley would be performing as well because you would just stack the box and rush Saquon.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the Giants, and that's why he never won a MVP with the Giants. He never won Offensive Player of the Year with the Giants.
Yeah,
No.
that's fair. But to add on to the argument for Lamar's MVP, I just remembered this from earlier. First quarterback in NFL history to hit these minimums in a game. The minimums were 80% completion percentage, 250 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and at least 50 rushing yards. First quarterback in NFL history to do that. And today was his second game of the season with 5 passing touchdowns. So, I don't know. I think if you look at the overall picture, and like Andrew mentioned, a couple bad games that Josh Allen had as well, I think the overall picture for me puts Lamar Jackson in front for MVP as it stands right now. But
While we're on the topic of awards, do you mind if I just interject right quick?
go for it.
I don't know if you have the Steelers game in your notes between the Steelers and the Eagles.
It's actually my next one. That's what I was about to move on to.
Okay, move on then, and then I will jump in there.
So I was going to say, yeah, that's actually ironic. That's funny.
Yeah.
Additionally, the Eagles continue their hot streak, defeating the Steelers 27-13. Despite that, the Steelers have clinched a playoff spot today. That's interesting because with the Ravens win today, the Ravens have a chance to tie records with Pittsburgh if they beat Pittsburgh next week. and then they would be tied for first in AFC North with 2 games remaining. So that's interesting to follow. But Andrew, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that despite the Steelers losing today, I wanted to point out that this might be TJ Watt's year to win Defensive Player of the Year. This man has been on a streak. He's been hell to play against as an opposing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He stripped Jalen Hurts today. Forced a very beautiful sack on a broken play. That looked like Jalen turned nothing into something and then into a fumble.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught that play.
I did, yeah.
Prior to that, when he played Joe Burrow, I believe he had 2 strip sacks against Joe Burrow. He's been hell to play against. TJ Watt should be your Defensive Player of the Year this year.
That's definitely a fair assessment. He has been
He
balling
should have
out.
been last year.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
offense to Myles Garrett. But.
But yeah, so that was the other interesting game. AFC North is interesting again. At least the top 2 teams are. I don't know about the other ones. Anyways, let's do a little reflecting on some of our early season predictions for way too early division and award winners that we did. I think Saquon was absent for that episode, but you can still chime in.
I was absent.
He had other obligations. Yeah, me and Andrew put together in one of our early episodes. Go back and check it out if you haven't seen it. We put together our way too early predictions, so I kind of want to look back on those if I can remember all of the predictions that I made. But I'm going to just pull up the NFL standings, and we'll start with the divisions. Let's start with AFC East. Andrew, who did you have? winning the
I think
AFC
we
East?
both had the Dolphins.
Yeah, we did.
That
I
did not age well.
It did not.
Saquon, who would you have thought
What was the question again? My apologies.
to win the AFC East?
Ooh,
You can pull up standings if you want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
yes.
That's the
yes.
Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots.
Yep,
I probably was at Bills.
Okay, yeah.
that's fair.
Me and Mike both had the Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins were struggling this year. Speaking about things that surprised us, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the
I
hell
think,
happened over
I think
there.
that's fair too because of how they went last year. But
Yeah, I
think
thought they were just
injuries
going to barely
and
beat the
other
Bills.
stuff rolled them.
Yeah, they did not pull through this year. But also the Bills kind of had a slow start, and then they put it together. So they're 11-3 now, leading that division.
Yep.
AFC West, who did we have?
Chiefs.
Yep, Chiefs. And
Chiefs.
13-1. The next second closest is the Broncos at 9-5. Broncos actually did a little bit better this year than I thought they would. No surprise there. The Chiefs leading that division. AFC North. Who did we have winning the AFC North?
Ravens.
That's right. Now, Ravens are
Ravens.
not currently winning the AFC North, but like we just talked about, Steelers are ahead by 1 game.
Yep.
So these last few games will be crucial for that. Did not expect the Browns to tank the way they did, and definitely thought the Bengals would be a little bit better.
I expect the Browns to be bad.
Honestly, I'm not too sure what I expected from the Browns. It's been messy for 3-4 years, but this year has definitely been like a low.
Yeah, it is important to note there's still a couple weeks left, obviously, but with our schedule being every other week, it's kind of hard to time it. So this is why we're doing reflection with a few weeks left. But AFC South, who do we have winning that division?
I had the Texans.
I believe I
had the Texans as well.
Did I pick the Colts or the Texans? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I want to say you had the Texans because you had C.J. Stroud being the MVP.
No,
that was Andrew.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Andrew. Okay.
You had who being MVP?
I had, I think I had Christian McCaffrey for
Yeah,
MVP.
that aged well.
Yeah, that did not age well at all.
Interesting.
It's okay. I had Tyreek Hill being the Offensive Player of the Year.
I had Justin Jefferson, Offensive Player of the Year. That didn't age well either.
It's not his fault.
It's not. But I think I did pick the Texans to win the AFC South. So our predictions aren't too far off. Moving over to the NFC, though, who do we have winning the NFC East?
Eagles.
I believe I picked. Did I pick the Eagles? I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
you
I
did.
did.
That was your Super Bowl pick.
That's
so.
right. Yeah. I picked the Eagles and the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. NFC West. Who did we have winning that division?
I had the Niners.
I probably had the Niners as well.
I believe I picked the Niners too. That's another thing that didn't age very well.
Yep.
They are at the bottom of that division. Kind of a weak division this year. NFC North. Who do we have winning that one?
Pretty sure I had the Packers.
You did, I'm
NFC
pretty sure.
North.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you had Packers. I had Detroit.
I went out on a limb and pretty sure I picked the
Vikings?
Bears to win that
I think
division.
you did pick
The
the Bears.
Bears.
Ooh, that did not.
Really?
I thought they were going to put it together this year. They did not. They were 4
I mean,
and
they're-
9.
They're good on paper. Besides the fact that we didn't know much about Caleb Williams, I believe one of you guys were
Or
gassing him
Romo
up.
Dunze.
He saw a lot of stuff. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and Rome does it. But
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
they were
they're-
going to be.
Your offensive rookie of the year, Romo Dunze.
Yeah, Romo Dunze was my offensive rookie there. Another thing that didn't age well.
yep, they are 4-9 and they are out of playoffs.
Yeah, they got eliminated today.
Oh yeah! Congratulations to the Bears for getting eliminated from playoff contention. Pick it up and try again next year.
That's my pick to win the division, boys.
Well, honestly, genuinely, I hope the Bears pick it up. I have no hate against any Bears fans. They've been going through a lot this season, especially with the coach situation.
Yeah,
There's always next season, like Andrew said.
bro. This car outside is killing me. It's killing me. NFC South. Who did we have winning that division?
I had the Falcons. I'm pretty sure.
I believe
I
we
have Falcons
both.
as well.
Yeah, I think we all
We all
had
have
Falcons.
Falcons.
There's still a chance.
There is still a chance. Falcons are 6-7. Bucks are 8-6. Falcons have been struggling to be consistent this year. They've had a couple good games.
This whole division is struggling to be
Yeah.
consistent.
To be
Remember
honest.
when Derek Carr was the MVP candidate?
Yeah. Wild
I thought he was
division.
hot.
But
I
yeah,
got the Bucks winning that out though. I don't see ATL. Kirk is just so inconsistent, dude. I don't
I
get
agree.
it. I
So
don't.
is Baker.
I-
That's the problem, though.
yeah, but it. Well,
They are
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
one team is 8-6 and the other team is 6-8.
yeah.
Well, 6-7, but I wouldn't doubt they probably gonna lose
Yeah.
the next game.
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Honestly.
Yeah, I would. I probably have the Bucks taking that
Yeah.
division at this point.
Like,
But yeah,
yeah.
my picks did not age well at all.
Happens to the best of them.
Andrew, you had C.J. Stroud for MVP.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Saquon, who would you have picked early on for MVP?
Probably most likely CJ.
That's fair.
Either CJ or Kirk, just due to who they had around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I just saw the Patrick Mahomes injury.
I picked Christian McCaffrey. Another thing that didn't age well. Who did we pick for defensive and offensive player? I said I picked Justin Jefferson for offensive.
I picked Micah Parsons for Defensive Player of the Year.
That was a
Really?
solid guess. I picked, I believe I picked Myles Garrett to win it again.
To repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our early picks didn't age too well.
That's what early pits do. I mean, to be fair, we had some age pretty good.
Yeah, there was a couple in there, and a couple that weren't far off. But I think even with a little bit of time left, most things are set in stone at this point. It seems like, aside from the MVP.
The MVP race, the Ravens Steelers division,
Yeah, it's like
the
50-50.
Falcons and the Bucks
Yeah.
up for grabs. I guess the 49ers could snake it from the Eagles. Not the 49ers, the
I don't think they can.
Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders could. Yeah, Commanders are another team that surprised me this year.
Yeah, no,
Does anybody else have anything else to add before we wrap up?
I don't think so.
Saquon, you got anything else for the people?
I do not. Well, I am looking forward to a Christmas game with Beyonce.
Yeah, man.
It's the only reason why he's looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Literally.
Rumor
Yeah.
has it she was playing with Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, hope everybody out there has a good Christmas. We won't see you again until after Christmas, so hopefully everybody enjoys their holidays. And
Yeah, enjoy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas.
yeah,
The New Year's. We're not going to see you until after the New Year's. See you again next year, guys.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that post actually I don't know. I'm not even going to try to do the math on the schedule right now. But yeah, this has been a fun one. So we're gonna head over and do our wrestling episode If you enjoy professional wrestling, come over and check that one out. We do
It
our
would post on the first of the new year.
yeah, so we get a podcast posting on the 1st. So
Awesome.
if the schedule goes as planned. But yeah, we do our wrestling stuff every other Friday, our main NFL and sports every other Wednesday. So if you like wrestling, come check that out. We're about to record it now. All the links are in the description. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. I'm Mike. I've been joined by Saquon and Andrew for Free State Sports. Thank you for tuning in as always, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Sayonara.
Peace.